All right, peace and blessings, and welcome to another episode of YB's Collaboration Corner. I am your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days, and your #1 connector, LinkedIn locksmith. And I have the pleasure of being with my homegirl, Jice Johnson. If I could tell you what we had to go through, we went through the fire, through the limit, through the walls, to get this podcast to you. So this is going to be the best podcast ever to come through YB's Collaboration Corner. Jice, how you doing today?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I am blessed by the best. Listen, Jice is the Chief Visionary Officer and founder of the Black Business
Initiative,
BBI for short. She and I had the opportunity to connect through our mutual coach, Kendall Ficklin, last summer. Real quick story. I got to tell them how it happened. Real quick story. This is the power of collaboration and the power of ear hustling, right? The power of collaboration, the power of ear hustling. So I come in and I'm scheduled to speak at this mastermind conference that Jice is a part of, right? And so Kendall mentions that I'm into LinkedIn and how I do this, and then I stand up to introduce myself, and I give my 6-second elevator pitch, right? I say something to the effect of, I coach women entrepreneurs to increase their visibility using LinkedIn or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so I hear Jice talking to her partner, or talking to a partner of hers, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, you might have to get him out to Denver." So then I don't think you heard me. I don't think you knew I was listening, but we could talk about what that ended up in. So Jice, tell us who you are, tell us where you're from initially, right? Because I know that's important. And then we get on with the rest of the podcast.
It is important. Thank you for that. So my name is Jice Johnson. I am the founder and the CVO of the Black Business Initiative. We are in a bit of a transition, but historically the Black Business Initiative has helped Black-owned businesses start, grow, and scale. That has been how we made our presence known here in Denver, Colorado. But I am originally from Oakland, California, the Bay Area. I think that is so important to my identity and my work. So I appreciate you giving me the space for that.
Absolutely. I think it's important because the most important thing, and I talked about it this weekend because we met up, well, by the time people watch this, they won't know what this weekend is, but we had a chance to reconnect at the same mastermind and just talked about the power of, where you're from, right? So cultivating connections, and everybody is from someplace, even if they've been all over the world, military brat or something, they're from someplace. And so the fact that you're from the Bay, you'll definitely relate to a few people. So Jice, tell us, you're the Chief Visionary Officer. Tell us a little bit about what does that mean to be the Chief Visionary Officer, and tell us about your organization.
Yeah, so a little bit of a backstory on the evolution of my title, the Chief Visionary Officer. When I started the Black Business Initiative, I really suffered a lot from imposter syndrome. And that's still a thing that's prevalent at times, especially as the organization evolves. But at that moment, I didn't want to be known as like the CEO or a president. I just felt like those were big titles, and I was, this young lady, right? And I today I try not to use words like just when I'm talking about any aspect of my life. But at that time I was like, I'm just, someone trying to do my part to help the Black community, to help my community, to help the people that I saw around me, and to fill a gap and a need. And it took some time through a lot of coaching before I started calling myself the director. I couldn't quite figure out. And then finally I said, okay, I'm the CEO. But CEO didn't necessarily resonate with me because the one thing that others saw in me was that I have a vision. And so people kept saying, but you're a visionary, you're a visionary. And I said, well, I don't think there's like a chief visionary thing, And I went and looked it up, and sure enough, there was this kind of gravitation towards the idea of a chief visionary officer, and ultimately it's someone who could also be the CEO, which I am. So I am the CEO and the CVO, but ultimately, a chief visionary officer is someone who has a vision and who is dedicated to taking their organization or taking an organization towards that next level of vision. And I have a vision not only for the work that we're doing, but also for the community that we serve. So I guess that would lead me into what it is that we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Because first of all, you got me wanting to change my title now, right? So I'm like the founder, executive director now, right? But now I need to be the chief visionary officer. So when I change that, when I make that little switch on LinkedIn, you'll know it's because of Jice.
Okay.
Jice inspired me to become the chief visionary officer of my other venture that we'll talk about offline.
Awesome. Well, I love that because I do think that you're visionary, and I think that's important for us to acknowledge that in our journey, in our walk. And also, I'll add this as I talk about how what our organization does. You know, the change in adding that, like basically putting myself in the C-suite, it changed the way that I saw myself and the way that I related to other folks in the C-suite, right? So if I see myself as not being in the C-suite, and I think of myself as just being an entrepreneur, instead of me thinking and seeing myself as an executive, as a chief executive in any capacity, it prevented me from showing up like I was a peer of another person in the C-suite. And so now when I walk in, you know, even from something as simple as, hey, I need to change my schedule. When I'm thinking of myself as a director who finally gets a meeting with the CEO of something, I don't feel like I have a lot of agency to, you know, maneuver, right? And I have to remind myself, you're the CEO of something. Like, you know, you have the agency to relate to that person at the same level. And that's a mindset shift that happened with that change of a title. So it's interesting what a title can do, even though that's not something I'm hung up on. It was something that I needed for my own internal, you know, presence to show up in a different way.
You know, that's important. And we can go in so many different directions, but the direction I think we should go in now is just what you said, right? So, you know, the purpose of this podcast is to talk about collaboration and how collaboration creates currency. First question for you is, what does collaboration mean to you? And how has just making this simple shift in a title helped you to collaborate so that you created currency for yourself and others?
Yeah, so I see collaboration as creating win-win scenarios. That's the first thing that really comes to mind. Like, I'm kind of textbookish. What is that? What does Kendall call them? I'm a turtle. So I almost want to look up what the actual definition of collaboration is. I'll spare us and say, I see it as, how do we create win-win scenarios? How
has collaboration? So you've created a number of win-wins. Give me one example of how you've been able to leverage collaboration to create currency for yourself or for others.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, YB, like I would say that you're one of those things, right? Like you mentioned how we met. I said, hey, I want you to come out to Denver, right? I went, hey, he needs to come to Denver. And then, you know, I reached out to you and said that, right? Well, that was what I felt like. And you know, hopefully you're okay with me putting this out here, but, you know, you said, hey, what's your budget? I said, I didn't have one, right? Like, I had a budget for a certain number of people. I saw what you did. I wanted you to come. I didn't have the budget for that. But, you know, I was concerned about that, right? But I said, I think if you come, like, you can, you know, tell people what you do, you can sell from the stage, and let folks know what you do. And then to me, you're providing something positive that I believed that my community and that my audience needed to hear. So, you know, I hoped that was a win-win collaboration, right? And in that space, I believe it was, because here we are a year later and our relationship has continued to grow. I've become a client of yours, right? Because my LinkedIn profile needed a whole lot of work. And I'm still literally going through like the tips that you gave me to continuously make improvements, right? So I believe that not only have we, you know, grown a good business relationship, but I think we've been able to find places to collaborate. So, and I could give, of course, others, but I, you know, right off the top, like that's the one I'm literally looking at dead in the face is.
Listen, I was doing an interview. I had another episode that I recorded, and the young lady said the same thing. I said, y'all gonna have these people thinking I'm telling y'all to say sweet stuff about me. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. The check is in the mail. But as we land the plane, you're exactly right. I mean, I definitely was a win-win for me. The greatest surprise was the fact that Kendall was there. I did not know he was coming. The fact that he was in the room while I was speaking was huge, because he's raised me in my speaking business. He's helped me to level up in life and in business. And I'm sure he's done the same thing for you. And so, that is definitely powerful. Jice, as we begin to land the plane, talk about your upcoming conference. This is the 6th annual, right? It's the 6th annual conference. So talk about that, and then talk about how people can find you and get more information about you, your business, and the conference.
Yeah. So thank you for that. The Black Business Initiative is hosting our 6th annual Black Boss Summit, which is the conference that you spoke at. And, I started this conference really with wanting to make sure that we had tactical and tangible things to take away. And this isn't really just tooting your own horn, but I am tooting your horn. Like, that was why when I heard you speak at Kindle's, I said, oh, I need you to come and speak for our audience, because, when you hear folks, sometimes you get a lot of fluff and you get a lot of motivation, which is great. You can talk about I'm a big mindset advocate. So, mindset is a lot of, sometimes it's a lot of, I don't want to call it fluff. That's not the right word, but it's motivation.
Yeah. Well, it lacks substance, right? So it's like candy, right? So the candy it'll get you something, but it ain't gonna make you full. So some people could get you hyped, but it ain't like you're gonna need the motivation again, versus having something that people can chew on for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that has been the goal of the Black Boss Summit since I started, was I call them tactical, tangible takeaways that entrepreneurs can use to apply to their business immediately. Entrepreneurs and leaders and professionals, because truly entrepreneurial skill sets are absolutely important as you think about how to climb that corporate ladder as well, or even as you think about how you show up and impact the community as a local community leader as well. So those types of things are what we bring to the summit. And this year I'm super excited because Kendall will also be touching our stage again. And so this year our theme is love, leadership, and legacy. And I think right now, post-pandemic, it is such an important time for us to talk about how we love ourselves, how we love our community, how we understand some of the setbacks and some of the opportunities that exist. I think it's most important as to how we show up as leaders in our community, as leaders in our family, in our community, in our businesses. So I think that leadership aspect is going to be, wildly important. But I also think it's time for our community to really start addressing what legacy looks like, not just our legacy for our family, which of course is important. I have children, you have children. I'm sure why part of your audience are parents, right? And I think when we start talking about legacy, that's the easy place to talk about what is it that we want to leave for our children or our grandchildren. But there's also legacy that we as a whole, as an entire socioeconomic group, leave to the next generation and to the future generations. And what does that look like? What are they going to say about Gen X, and what are they going to say about the millennial generation? What are they going to say about Gen Z in another generation or two from now, and the impacts that we've made, the advancements that we've made, what we've been able to conserve, how we've been able to shift some of the trajectories that we're currently seeing, whether it's on the political landscape, the business landscape, the financial, environmental, right? I mean, there's so many aspects that are kind of coming at us, and what is our overall impact and legacy that we'll be leaving as a whole, as a generation. So these are some of the topics that we'll be talking about. Of course, there are a lot of tangible takeaways that will come out of here as well. And we have some dope folks that will be presenting. So you can find more information at blackbosssummit.com. I will throw out here, you do not have to be Black to participate, and you can also come out, but just know that we are bringing the culture. So
the culture is definitely coming through in Denver. And for those of you who have never been to Denver, so this was my first time coming to Denver, so that was a win-win. That was definitely a win-win. I was under the impression I wouldn't see no Black people other than Jice and a couple other folks. I was sorely mistaken. So I got to come back out there this year, especially because of some of the things that I'm doing around HBCU alumni. I'm looking to get into cities where I'm able to collaborate with HBCU alums and empower, inspire, impact them, and also help them to focus on their visibility, credibility, profitability, and wealth, so that we can increase alumni giving to our HBCU. So I love the fact that you have this going on, Jice. I'm truly proud of you. I do have two final questions. One is, this is the curveball, so get ready, right? So obviously, you know that this podcast is powered by self-publishing 30 days. And so if you had the opportunity, your first, second, third book, whatever, to go anywhere in the world to write a book, and we were paying for it, and I know I'm speaking your love language because you love to travel, right?
I do.
Where would you go? If we were paying for it, where would you go to write
Costa
your book?
Rica. Costa Rica, hands down.
Costa Rica. Okay. Have you ever been?
I have.
Okay.
Yep. It's my American exit strategy.
Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, Jice. So tell us anything that's on your heart as we wrap up. Any last words, any words of inspiration, takeaways that you want to share with our people?
I just really live by a motto of three things. I believe in being intentional in all that we do. I believe in manifestation. I don't see manifestation as being something magical. It is really the time and the work and the momentum that we build behind that intentionality. And I believe in doing all things that we do in excellence. And so if I have any parting words for anyone, it would be live intentionally, manifest the life that you want to live, and do it with excellence.
I love it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You can find me at Jice Johnson on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can also follow the Black Business Initiative at BBI Professional on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Mostly LinkedIn, though, because
but mostly LinkedIn.
Somebody I know helped her with her LinkedIn profile. Somebody I know this guy personally. You might want to check him out.
You do want to check him out.
You are amazing. I wish you all of the best. Looking forward to what's going to go down in Denver in September. And you keep on keeping on. For those of you who are listening, definitely connect with Jice. She's an amazing sister. Let me tell you something. She didn't even tell you the half of what she's doing, especially when it comes to funding organizations and getting money. But you're gonna have to follow up with her, and I'm gonna bring her back so she can drop some more nuggets on her. I want you all to remember, as you go through the process, whether your goal is to become an author or not, there is a support system out there. So don't be afraid to reach out. Connect, collaborate, and create currency, okay? But it all starts with you being encouraged, be blessed, but most of all, be faithful over the gift that you've been given, because your gift will make room for you. We'll see you on the next episode of YB's Collaboration Corner. Peace.
Peace.